I'm recording this, I'm not live streaming because live stream's just been so glitchy lately, so I'm going to record it to upload later, whatever. Right, I was going to be putting my PCB designs onto some yellow photo paper, wax paper, but I decided I'm just going to use conventional photo paper for now because that's what most people use anyway. And I was going to just demonstrate how to do it with a laminator. Basically, I've trimmed this side so it's the right width for the board, and I'm going to be holding it in place with some tape. Now, the first thing you need to do is, obviously I've already cleaned this board, but the most important thing is to have a very, very clean circuit board. I've already cleaned this previously, but I'm going to, it's been in the bag, clean, but I'm going to actually give it another wipe with some isopropyl alcohol, and I'm also going to use some Captain tape, which is heat proof, and it's ideal for actually sticking it without it melting and getting stuck to the rollers, because it's heat proof. So because it's a twin roller laminator, I don't want the sellotape to melt and get stuck to the rollers, so I'm using Captain tape. Now, before I actually start, I'm going to give this another quick wipe over. So I've just got some ordinary tissue paper. I'll just roll it up. I'm going to spray some isopropyl alcohol onto this just to make sure that it's completely and utterly clean, because it's very important. Right, so it must not have any grease on it whatsoever, and this is just an extra precaution before I actually start. And as you can see, there's no dirt on there whatsoever, it's really clean. Now, next step is I'm going to mount this. I have to get the silk screen exactly the right way around in relation to the printed side of the board. Now, obviously, it's a mirror image, so this is a complete mirror image of. This thing doesn't preview very well. I need to get a big preview screen on here, and it's just absolutely a piece of garbage. Hold on a minute. Never mind. Just take my chances. Right, so I've got the presets. I can see where the presets are on here, and by looking at the opposite, that is the direct opposite of this. So basically, I need to flip this onto the copper. So I'm going to lift up this copper. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to get the copper board directly over the transfers, so I can't see. So as little possible of the transfer showing out of one end. One end is obviously got more of a track than the other. Now this is more expendable, this side, than the other side. So I want to make sure that I don't miss out any parts. So I've got that in position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of Captain tape along here to keep this all perfectly lined up. And I need to put my other glasses on because these glasses are really, I can't see very well with them. That's better. So I don't know if you can see Yes, I think you can. The camera, the preview screen is so small on there. It's this stupid Camtasia. I hate it. Horrible. You don't get a decent preview screen. Now I'm just getting this lined up as best as I can, and there's going to be a little bit of an overspill actually where the board size is slightly bigger than my copper board, which is unfortunate, but it's not a big problem. As long as I don't waste the important parts. So now get some Kapton tape. And this will keep everything straight and lined up. Because once the copper starts to be... Oh, that moved then. I just put my finger on it. There must have been air underneath. You know, something strange has just occurred to me. Oh, it's okay. That's fine, that's fine. I thought I'd pull some of the transfers, some of the toner off the paper, but it was a little, there's a gap there, it's meant to be there. Yeah, getting this lined up can be in itself a little bit of a challenge. Right, okay, I'm just going to hold that down. Put my Kapton tape on the board. Oh, actually, I don't want the Kapton tape too far onto the board because I want to be able to do the other side at the same time. So I'm just going to have a slight overlap on there. Because there's a white area. There's a white area where there's nothing anywhere to be laminated on. Now the next step is to clean this side. I'm going to do both sides together actually, which is something I've not done before, but I wanted to try it. I've got to be careful I don't get too much of this isopropyl alcohol. I usually do it one side at a time, but this is going to be a bit of a first. Attempt to do both sides at the same time. Now I've got it lined up. I need to have a bit more Kapton tape. Now I've got some thin stuff here, very thin Kapton tape, and I'm going to attempt to put a little thin line down that bottom end there. If I can find the end, fortunately my hands are very clean. Right, I've got a little thin piece. You see, once it goes in the laminator, the heat will bond in. It will, once it's hot, it will prevent it from sliding around. As you can see, I have a little bit of black poking at the bottom, but that is just ground rail. It's not really a concern, that end. So and it's important to put it in one, the end goes in first, is this end with a long piece of paper, the trailing paper. Now I've got this, I need to just wipe this again. So I've touched it accidentally. Right, that's clean. Now I'm going to position my, there's a reason why I left one end longer as well. It's to feed into the laminator. Also it's so I can hold it. Now I'm going to place this side because there's a large white area where there's no components anyway, so I don't have to worry about those parts not being coming into contact. The tricky part really is just locating this and actually holding it all together. So I'm going to turn the laminator on. Actually it needs to get really hot, so that's going to take a while. When the green light comes on, I'll know it'll be ready. Now another thing where I can actually do, is to put a tiny speck of super glue on there just to stop it from sliding around. And when I say tiny, I mean very tiny, because I don't want to be having a mess to clean up later. But that's another way of doing it. But yeah, I'm going to do it without that though. I'm basically just going to put some Captain tape over the end. I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to turn all this the other way up. Because I want to stick it on the other side. This is a bit fiddly. Put my scissors underneath, lift it over. Now I've got to gently align this, because it's not as critical actually for the silk screen to be slightly off alignment. The components will be marked, even if they're a millimetre out of alignment. That doesn't really matter too much, but I am going to try and get them straight if I can. Now I've got that on there, I'm going to get some more Captain tape and I'm going to wrap out completely around this edge here, so that nothing slides around. If I can find the flipping end. Oh, I've got it one way around. Right, so I'll make sure I've got that straight. I'm just hanging it and bring it down. You also want straight edges so that nothing gets fouled in the rollers. So I'm going to cut a slight curve around there. Now I'm just going to bend that over like that. Because this is the end. This is the exit end anyway. Right, I've got green lights now. All green. Now I'm going to come around. Now this end, this is stuck on, but this end is not. So what I've got to do now is put some more Captain tape around this end. So I'm just going to get some more. As I say, it'll stick itself to the board once the heat starts to get to it, and I need to get this really hot to do that. Right, got the other end stuck to my mat. Now I'm just going to wrap this over that edge, because this is the feeding edge, so it's got to be very, there mustn't be any problem with it. It must be nice and flat, otherwise it'll get fouled up. And this will help, because it's thinner as it starts, it will help it to feed in. And also during the feeding process, hold this very tight so that the paper doesn't creep as it goes into the laminator. So the first few times you're putting it in, you have to hold this very tightly at one end. So we're going to start now. once it gets started you can release the tightness. Okay, it's feeding in now. We're going to have to put this through about 20 times. You need to always make sure you're more or less in the centre of the laminator, otherwise it will seize up, it will jam and you won't get it out. It does groan a bit while it's doing this. Right, and hold it tight. Go in again. You don't force it in, you just hold it tight at the back so that the toner can heat up naturally. So I really need to do this for about 10 minutes actually. So I'll look at the clock. Right, I go again. Eventually this will be so hot I won't be able to hold it. The paper's already stuck to the copper now. It should no longer slide or creep because the heat is causing it to actually start to stick. As I say, I'll keep doing this for about 10 minutes because it has to get very hot and it takes a while for the board to get hot enough. It's getting quite uncomfortable to hold now actually. When I get a bit more confident as it gets really hot, it's also possible to put it in the other way. It's also possible to put it in the other way and actually even put it in sideways once you know that the paper's stuck properly. But at the moment, I don't want to risk that. I'm going to have to start using a piece of tissue paper to actually hold it, because it's getting a little bit too unbearable now. But that's what we need. We need about needs to be about probably 200 or 300 degrees actually. I think it's about 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit or so, 150 degrees centigrade or something. Also, the tissue helps me prevent me cooling it down with my hands as well, because your hands can cause cold spots on there and it can cause a problem. So I need to start holding it in a different place as well. I know it sounds like it's complaining a lot, it's just squeaking actually, it's rubbing against the plastic as it goes through the machine. And I don't have to squeeze it now as much as I did, because it's already starting to work. It can basically be fed in by itself now. It can auto feed itself now. It's handy to put the tissue on actually, it just keeps it hot. It stops the air getting cool in it as well. It doesn't get that hot, it's not going to burst into flames or anything, it's about the temperature of a boiling hot cup of tea or something. I can feel heat radiating off the copper now. We've got another 5 minutes to go. It's still getting hotter and hotter each time I put it through. Oh, don't worry, the tissue won't get sucked in as well, because we haven't got any sharp clipped edges on it. And I went and cut my arm. If you wonder what I've been fidgeting with, I went and cut my arm on something, I don't know what it was. And I'm going to start moving a little bit further this way to get a different area of the roller, just so it covers the whole board, because the rollers can actually bend slightly, so I need to move it around a bit, and I also need to go in sideways at some point. That could pose some problems, but I've done it before with this size of board, but you can't really do it in a laminator with a really big board. You know, it only works for small size boards about this size. Because if you go in it, that's why I marked this with a red line. If I go too far over here, it can jam up and it won't go through, and it's very difficult to get it out. You can also go at a slight angle as well, which which I'm going to do now. Now that it's established, now that the copper is established, I'm going to go in at an angle. I mean the transfer, the toner transfer is established now, so now I can risk going in at an angle just to get more even coverage. Well, I just hope I haven't gone too far that way. It could get stuck. Yeah, it has. This is the problem. This is what happens when you go too far near the end. And to get that out, I'm going to have to use my pliers. This is the problem that happens. And I don't want to break it. I'll have to turn it back on. Come in. There we go. This is what can happen. Turning it off was just a temporary thing. Now this is why I don't want to go past that line. So you buy cheap laminators. Always get cheap laminators. Don't spend a lot of money. I'm going to have to go through a bit longer actually because of that problem there. I just hope the transfers haven't moved. I don't think they have. I mean the toner. I don't think anything's moved because it's anchored to the board now. I am going to try sideways. It's a bit risky. I've got dead sideways, got completely sideways. Oh, I don't think it wants to. Ah! No, it's not going to go sideways. I can go in backwards. It's very hot right now. Yeah, there's some plastic guides and it can't get stuck against those sometimes. And I'm going to go at a slight angle. I think I'll be alright with that. to keep the heat in. I'll just turn it around so you can see the other side of things. So you can get a rough idea what's coming out this end. Swapped it around there. There's some little plastic shelves that this rides up. It rides in little grooves inside and it squeaks as it goes through. That's all that noise is. I think we're just about ready actually. I think we're just about done now. I know it takes a long time to do these, but it's an easy way of doing it. It's more efficient than using an electric iron. It's a lot less hard work. I don't think I'm going to go in this. I don't think I will. No, it's definitely very hot now. I'm just going to go through one more time. And then I'll let it cool. I'm going to put it in some, I'm going to put a container with some boiling water to soften the paper, and I'm just going to let it soak until the paper dissolves. Well, you just rub it gently with your finger. I think that's about it actually. You can see it's very well ironed all the way around by the rollers. We can't complain with that. You can even see the board underneath almost. So I'm basically going to, there's no areas of this paper that have popped up. They're all perfectly pressed down. So all of those transfers should be on that board now. So we've got to take the tape off, put this in a plastic container, soaking it in hot soap. I'll just let that, actually I'll leave it running, but I'll turn it on, I'll put it to cold and it'll cool down a little bit. I don't want my rollers to get stuck in case of anything, but they shouldn't though, because there's no contaminants on here. So I'll basically just gonna let that cool a minute. I'm going to take this tape off when it's cooled, put the whole thing in a plastic container with boiling soapy water and let it soak. That's one of the most common ways of photo etching, using laser printed photo paper, and the results are usually very good. I did a previous video which you could always go and look at. It's on. I've turned this off now anyway. I set it to cold, but I think it's still on actually. Right, I'll just turn that off, let it cool. Right, there's no point in filming the rest because my camera's not mobile. So anyway, I'll pause it I'll pause it. I'll go and fetch the container with the hot water in here, so I'll just pause it for a while. Okay, I have my boiling water. This is cooled. The only reason for letting it cool is so that I can take the tape off without the risk of pulling the paper off prematurely and damaging the transfers. I've got a lid. So I'm going to hold this together while I take this tape off. But the reason for that is it's so that the paper is so that the water can soak in better. And I'm going to hold it actually quite well because I don't want to prematurely tear the transfers off. I want the paper to come away easily without me forcing it. Right. I'll pop it in the water and let that soak. I'm going to put the lid on to keep the heat in. I don't want the water to go cold too quickly. And my scrap bits of paper, I'll just get rid of those. So basically I'll just rock that about in hot water just to help it soak in. And eventually that paper will become transparent. Now if this fails, then I'm not too disappointed, because it sometimes does. I have some special wax paper which is even better than photo paper, with 4 printouts on there, and basically what I want to put it now. Those are 4 coloured ones which I did simply just to make it easy to spot errors. But basically it will be on photo paper, but not about that size, but actually this size. And if I need to do the yellow paper, this is the blown up size. This is much bigger than what it really is actually. But so we'll just see how this goes. And I did a few samples, but the ink went wrong on that one. But that is just that's a laser printer one. That's not. That's the inkjet, not the laser one. So we have to wait now. I can take the lid off and have a look. Oh yeah, it's definitely, the paper's starting to bubble because it's starting to lift off the circuit board, so it is starting to work. Actually I could turn it over just to make sure the other side gets more. Actually I think I'll use my plastic thing on. I'll use this thing to try to lift it. The paper's actually gone very soft now. Oh, it's actually coming off the board. It's just literally just falling off. This is the kind of result you really want, really. It's actually come off. The paper's come off. Now, has the toner stayed on the board? Well, most of it has. There's tiny areas on the silk screen has actually pretty much worked. There's just some tiny areas where some of it, actually most of it, has gone on the board. It's just a tiny, and the other side seems to have come off as well. Now, let's just have a look on the other side. hopefully the other side is the important side. That's why I put captain tape on that side first, because that's the most important side, is the copper side, and I wanted to ensure that it would not. Oh, look at that! The paper's just coming apart. So it's certainly ready for me to. You can see the silk screen has worked very well. So now I need to basically take this tape off, this one now, because we only took the tape off the other side and the paper's just crumbling. We need to continue soaking a bit longer, and this side of the board facing up, and I'm not going to push my luck. I'm just going to let that soak, but we only have a tiny amount, just this little bit there, and the rest of it's transferred perfectly. It was the edges, it's always the edges which get cold, you see. It's getting the edges hot enough is the problem. It's because the heat is lost at the edges first. So that's why I did put it through so many times. And in fact, I probably should have put it through a few more times. If I was able to put this through sideways, I would not have had this problem. It's because it was jamming on me and I didn't want to risk it, and that's the only reason why I've got these bits that are left. Because if I'd done it sideways, it would have had more heat across the whole width, because the end's going first, and so they cool, and they also come out first, cool faster, and they're exposed to the air longer, the edges that is. That's the reason why we've got those little failures. But this paper is very soft right now, and should be long enough actually. So I'm going to attempt, well, it's too hot for my fingers right now, but I'm going to use my plastic thing just to try and see if I can lift some of this off. I can, without forcing it. I don't want to force it, I just want to gently lift. If it comes off, it comes off. If it doesn't, I'm not gonna force it. I'm trying to get the corner where my tweezers. It appears that it's coming off quite easily actually. Might be better if I put it in this thing. It's still very hot. Let me just try to lift this corner up. It's very soft. It's actually, yeah, I'm not forcing it, I'm just gently. That's the edge of the border, so that's not important. Let's get this tape off. The border line, that border line is fine, I'm not worried about that. The reason for taking the loose stuff off is so you can get more water to soak in more quickly around the remaining bits of paper. It takes a while for the water to soak in, but just rub it with your finger gently. I'll leave it a bit longer. It doesn't take long with boiling water. It's not boiling now, because I won't be able to put my finger in it if it was. Let's rock this about a bit. Might have a leak. Uh-oh. Good good thing I have tissue paper around. I didn't seal it properly. Just helps to speed things up. Let's have a little look. There's paper floating around in the water now, so let's see. Can I rub it off with my finger? Oh, look at that. I rub my thumb on there, it's just rolling about in balls of paper. So it's at the stage now where you can just rub it gently and most of the paper will just come off. And just rinse again. Carry on until you got rid of all the paper.
Good morning, Miss Paul.
Yeah, morning.
Morning, darling. Everything okay?
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was getting a call. Right. Okay, we're nearly there now. And we can see from that little hole there, it's coming out really well. It's important not to hurry this sort of thing, because otherwise it would mean going over and doing it all again. So I'm just letting the water do the work, really, as much as I can. And this is very hot still. I can bear it for a few seconds at a time. It might be better if I get my paintbrush actually. I don't know where I put it. Oh yeah, here we go. Paintbrush, just gently, it's a very soft plastic paintbrush. I'm just going to gently rub it with this brush. I'm not pressing at all, I'm just using the bristles. I'm pressing to the point where the bristles are touching like this, but I'm not pressing like that, I'm just like that. So a lot of the paper's just rolling off now. Works better when it's in the water. Look. There's my fingers again. I haven't seen any black so far, and that's good. I haven't seen any toner come off yet. As I say, I was going to make 4, but I decided to give this another shot because I've got lots of photo paper, but I don't have very much of the wax transfer paper left, really. I'm not in a hurry really to do this, so it's just one board I want. The other side is still intact. That's not come up, so that gives me encouragement for this side as well. See, I've got most of that unimportant part as well. The part which had my name on. It's the most of it's there actually. see, we're nearly there. Okay, most people make YouTube videos and edit out loads of the process actually, but I think that leaves people expecting things to be done in an instant, so they get impatient and they try to hurry it because they saw a guy on YouTube that did it in 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, well, people need to see how long this process really takes, you know, and the best way of doing it is to show them the full process and not edit out all the gaps. Okay, I could pause this every 2 minutes and come back and resume. I could do it that way, but that's cheating. That's like watching a race and saying, right, but this bit's boring, they're going to make 6 laps, so we'll cut all these 6 laps out and we'll just show you the part where they start the race and the part where they complete the race. Okay, you get the point. If people who want to watch a race at a sports event had to only got to see the start and the finish, what's the point in going? But we're nearly done. Another couple of minutes and this board is ready for etching. And you don't need me to show you how to do that. If you at the point where you want to find a new way of photo transferring the circuit board, you clearly know how to do the etching anyway. But anyway, there's lots of videos on doing that anyway on YouTube, and I think there's quite a few videos on this as well, but most people, as I say, they just edit it all out. If you've got the option to, got the patience to make a circuit board yourself, then you need to have the patience to watch how it's done. Otherwise, why bother? Pay someone else to do it. I'm basically going over it right now because there's glue, actually. There's a little bit of residual paper glue which tends to get stuck. And you don't really see it until it dries, and until the board dries you don't actually see the glue. Well, I can feel it. You can kind of feel it when it's there. But I can see it actually a little bit. Maybe it doesn't show up on the camera, but there is a little bit. So I'm going very gently now, because the part that I'm trying to clean at the moment is between the tracks, and pressing hard isn't going to help. It's just going to pull the tracks off, and I don't want to risk that. So I need to rinse this in clean water as well, so that I don't have residue drying on it. But I can certainly show you what it looks like. Under the magnifying glass there's a few bubbles, soap bubbles. Right, still not rinsed, but maybe you can see on here. Now it's come out. There we go, that's it. And the silk screen is on the other side. There's some soap bubbles on it, but still, it's not bad. It's good. It's good enough. I just need to do that a bit as well, because there's some gluey stuff on there too. Now it's just a question of getting some clean water, cold water, and well, warm water will be fine. Actually, I could use the water that's in the kettle that's cooled down a bit now, because it was about the same temperature as this probably. And just rinse. And my brush is full of paper and stuff. Okay, I'll pause it and I'll rinse it. Well, I did put another dab of soap in there, just a tiny speck, because I just want to start with some clean water that I can see through, because you can see through the water better, and I can see where there's some gluey bits left. And any errors can be touched up with the, oh, there's definitely some glue down there. See it. This is water from the kettle, which I didn't boil again, but it's still pretty hot. I think I need to use a different brush, because it's kind of a bit worn out. I have some more brushes. I'm going to get a yellow one. That's better. So much better that other brush is just worn out. you can start to see the gluey bits, but I'm not too worried about them. It's just that when I'm etching it, it can act as a bit of a barrier to the etchant maybe. I haven't noticed a big problem with it though, to be honest. There's a couple of areas that you're touching up with the ink pen, the photoresist pen, and that edge is right up here. Just a tiny bit that wants touching up there, but the rest of it looks okay. Right, that's about it, I think. I'll let that dry, and I'm pretty sure that when it dries it's going to look a bit powdery, because it usually does, but I don't think that's going to affect it once it gets in the etchant. So that's it, all done. Thanks for watching.